It's Thursday, October 5. In the headlines, Jamaica's health system facing a triple threat of dengue fever, COVID-19 and the flu. A public health education campaign about constitutional reform. In business news, gas and diesel prices are down. Regionally, Jamaica pitches itself as a new financial partner for Guyana. Internationally, U.S. health workers walk out over pay dispute. And in sports, Jamaica to compete in Fast 5 Netball World Series 2023. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Persons are being cautioned against rushing to emergency departments with only mild symptoms of dengue fever. Speaking during Wednesday's post-cabinet press brief at Jamaica House, Chief Medical Officer, CMO, Dr. Jacqueline Bissessa Mackenzie, said the fever can be controlled using home remedies. Addressing the press brief, Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, pointed out that the triple threat of dengue fever, COVID-19 and the flu place additional stress on the health system. He says while COVID-19 is no longer a crisis, the positivity rate in Jamaica is above 10%, which is relatively high.
Which is why we have to be deliberate in terms of our response, and we have to take the possibility of this seasonality of COVID, dengue and the flu as an important warning, if you will, to protect ourselves and to see a doctor if we find that we have symptoms. So if you're in an environment where you think you're exposed to the COVID virus, people are coughing, sneezing, that sort of thing. It could be COVID, it could be the flu, right? They have a fever, sore throat, it could be COVID, it could be the flu, it could be dengue. If it is 2 or 3, it can become a lot more severe, and so see your doctor.
The CMO says people with mild symptoms of dengue can recover within 7 days. However, Dr. Bissessa Mackenzie noted that there are warning signs that will indicate that a person is going to experience severe dengue.
And these warning signs tend to be that after the fever has settled, you continue to have severe symptoms, whether it is severe headaches, severe body pains, but you also have nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, and there may be signs of bleeding. These are very important signs that it means that you need to seek medical advice. And you should either see your general practitioner, you can visit the health center, but if the symptoms are more severe, then you must go to the emergency department. We really do want to caution people, though, about everybody rushing to the emergency department when they only have mild symptoms.
With that said, both the CMO and Minister Tufton are appealing to persons visiting the emergency departments to be patient when awaiting treatment.
Usually, we have a good triage system, and we are able to pick up those persons that need attention right away. And so sometimes you will see people rush ahead of you. It is because we consider those to be more of an emergency.
Dr. Bissessa Mackenzie reiterated that if medication has to be used to treat dengue symptoms, persons should use paracetamol or medication containing acetaminophen. The role and function of the municipal police are being reviewed. Minister of Local Government and Community Development Desmond Mackenzie shared the news while speaking on Good Morning Minister, aired on Love 101 FM on Wednesday. Municipal police officers support the activities of the local authorities by ensuring municipal laws and regulations and maintaining public order, among other activities.
I must admit that there has been challenges with some municipal police, and that program is under review in a way to give them more authority to, for them to act and to act in a way that is conducive with good order. But they do play a critical role. But a lot of times the roles of the municipal police is undermined because of their actions and, a lot of people do have regards. Even for the regular police, they do have regards for the regular police.
Meanwhile, Mr. McKenzie said the ministry has been instrumental in building and repairing some of Jamaica's 35 markets, 11 of which are in downtown Kingston.
We have built markets. We have built the new markets in Highgate, in Port Maria and St. Mary, the Clarkstown market in Trelawney, the Opal market in Hanover, the Rose Fish market in downtown Kingston. We came in on the downside of the Falmouth market, where we work closely with the Port Authority to build the new Falmouth market. Actually started before me. That market was built. We have repaired numerous markets across the country.
There is a push towards educating Jamaicans about the national constitution reform process. The Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs and the Jamaica Information Service, JIS, have entered into an agreement to execute a national public education campaign to do just that. Portfolio Minister Marlene Malahou-Fort told the House of Representatives this week that the campaign will run for 2 years in 6-month implementation phases between August 1, 2023 and August 1, 2025.
Engagements with members of the public have revealed a high level of ignorance among the people about the Constitution and basic governance concepts, as well as a lack of understanding of the structure of government.
Mrs. Malahou-Fort informed that to date, consultations have been held in each county, with 5 town halls taking place in St. James, Manchester, Portland, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland.
Focus group sensitization meetings were also convened with key stakeholders in St. James, Manchester, Portland, and Westmoreland. The stakeholders who have attended these meetings are from various sectors of the society, including but not limited to the man on the street, private sector, in particular, chambers of commerce in each parish, ministers fraternal, service clubs, community groups, custodes rotulorum, and justices of the peace.
Members of the CRC have also participated in more than 60 consultative activities with a number of stakeholders.
A wide cross-section of Jamaicans has been sensitized on the work to be done in Phase 1, and all issues raised by them have been documented for further deliberation.
Minister Malahou-Fort says the CRC, through the support of the Secretariat, have established a dedicated website, www.roadtorepublic.mlca.gov.jm, and social media pages, namely Facebook, Road to Republic JA, Instagram at Road to Republic JA, and X, formerly known as Twitter, Road to Republic. There is also a dedicated WhatsApp number. That's 876-441-9097. 876-441-9097. And an email address, constitutionalreform@mlca.gov.jm. The minister advised that the Youth Strategic Engagement Subcommittee has been mandated to facilitate active and inclusive participation of young people in the constitutional reform process and ensure that their perspectives, needs, and aspirations are considered and represented in the formulation of recommendations. Time now for the business report with Danita Rodney.
As of Thursday, October 5, motorists will pay less for gas when they go to the pumps. Down by $3.06, E1087 will sell for $187.52 per liter, while a liter of E1090 will sell for $193.60. Automotive diesel oil dipped by 1 cent will sell for $189.77 per liter. Ultra low sulfur diesel will sell for $198.16 per liter, following an increase of 82 cents. And the price of kerosene, down by 9 cents, will sell for $193.59. In the meantime, up by 25 cents, propane cooking gas will sell for $67.65 per liter, while butane will sell for $73.78 per liter. Remember that retailers will add their markups to the announced prices. Low-cost carrier Southwest Airlines is ramping up its non-stop flight options at the Kansas City International Airport starting this weekend. Reports are that on Saturday, the airline will launch new weekly non-stop flights to Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay. The expanded flights come just in time for the winter tourist season in Jamaica. Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Wednesday, October 4, the US dollar sold for an average of $156.24. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $114.67. The pound sterling traded for $190.03, and the euro sold for $167.86. In JSE trading, the JSE index declined by over 2,331 points. The junior market index declined by over 79 points. The combined market index declined by over 2,887 points, and the All Jamaican Composite Index declined by over 1,589 points. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 99 stocks, of which 41 advanced, 47 declined, and 11 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Variable Preference, Blue Power Group Limited, and Cargo Handlers Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, Access Financial Services Limited, and Berita Investments Limited. Trading firm were AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, Edufocal Limited, and Epley Limited. The overall volume leaders were Carreras Limited with over 12 million units, Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited, and Mailpack Group Limited with over 3 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, the mutual fund market did not record any activity. Zero securities traded on the Barbados Stock Exchange. In regional business, Barbadians living in the diaspora have a new tool through which they can pay bills back home. It comes as local company SurePay rolls out several new features. Sharika Griffith reports.
Traditionally, users had to have a local bank account to register for SurePay online. But the development of new digital technologies continues to provide new ways of doing business, and local company SurePay is staying in touch with the trends.
Now you can do so with any Visa or MasterCard debit or credit card. This makes it easy for persons in the diaspora to pay for services delivered in Barbados or on behalf of their families here at home. Consequently, the enhanced online portal now means that Barbadians working abroad can assist family and friends with online payments, including utilities, tertiary education fees, land taxes, I mentioned before, just to name a few.
SurePay Director Anthony Yearwood was speaking as the island's leading bill payments service provider launched its expanded portal. Other new features include an option to receive an email reminder when bills are due and automatic receipts by email or text message for completed transactions. With officials suggesting only about 15% of self-employed people are contributing to the national insurance scheme, Mr. Yearwood is offering government another option for collections.
With the government's approval and the cooperation of the NIS, SurePay stands ready and eager to facilitate self-employed persons making contributions to the NIS immediately through all of our channels, including the online channels. Our upgraded bill payments portal and mobile app, in addition to our over-the-counter service, offer a win-win for the government and consumers to help secure the future of the NIS by making it easy for self-employed business people to pay their contributions on time, and as the Prime Minister has suggested, even to pay over and above their regular payments when the business is in upswing.
In response, Minister in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, Ryan Strawn, notes SurePay already facilitates the payment of taxes and fees to the state. He believes all avenues should be pursued to ensure it's easy for people to pay NIS.
I would advise SurePay to request a meeting with the NIS board and see how they can support in that effort, because in the same way that they already have 94 billers on their system, it is just an avenue with respect to collection in relation to that. So I see no difficulty in having that as an option.
2023 marks 20 years in the business for SurePay. Today, the company services 300,000 customers in 6 countries, processing $500,000 in payment transactions each month. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
In international business, U.S. stocks ended higher and the Nasdaq gained more than 1% a day after a sell-off as the latest economic data showed U.S. private payrolls increased less than expected in September.
The Dow gained 0.4%, the S&P 500 climbed 0.8%, and the Nasdaq jumped nearly 1.4%. The ADP National Employment Report, which showed private payrolls increased less than expected in September, was cheered by investors who think a loosening labor market could push the Federal Reserve to stop raising interest rates. But Anna Rathbun, Chief Investment Officer at CBIZ Investment Advisory Services, notes that just one day earlier, the JOLTS report showed job openings unexpectedly grew in August, reflecting a still tight labor market.
In market data for oil prices fell by more than $1 on Thursday, extending the previous session's sharp losses as an uncertain demand outlook overshadowed any boost from an OPEC Plus panel maintaining oil output cuts to keep supply tight. Brent crude oil futures dropped $1.19 to $84.62 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude were $1.31 lower at $82.91. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
In regional news, Guyana requires finances, lots of it, to fund the sustained expansion of its productive sectors, be it oil and gas or agriculture. And Jamaica, one of the more advanced financial hubs in the Caribbean, is keen on supporting the growth of Guyana's financial market. Jamaica's willingness to support the growth of Guyana's embryonic capital market is evident through the hosting of a Jamaica Stock Exchange conference in Guyana.
As we say in the region, one hand can't clap. The goal of this conference, of course, is to learn about and discuss the development of the capital markets in Guyana and the building of requisite alliances to do so.
Dr. Marlene Street Forrest, the managing director of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, is among several of the Caribbean islands' top financial players in Guyana for a capital markets conference. Their goal is simple. They want to help Guyana, the world's fastest growing economy, develop a more sophisticated financial sector. They believe this can be done through the development of a capital market which involves raising funds by dealing in shares, bonds, and other long-term investments. Angus Young, the Chief Executive Officer of Jamaica's NCB Capital Markets Limited, says doing so will benefit ordinary Guyanese.
Developing the domestic capital markets in Guyana will ensure that the Guyanese citizen has the opportunity to participate in the fastest growing economy in the world. The opportunities are across all industries and exponential in nature. Traditional banking plays a very, very important role, but it is not enough. In the region, we are traditionally asset-backed lenders, meaning we traditionally rely on bricks and mortar for collateral security. However, the energy industries usually require specialized equipment, and specialized equipment is difficult to lend against in a traditional banking environment. This is where the capital markets can play a role and be tapped.
Meanwhile, Guyana's Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh believes that developing the local financial market is important.
But the first prerequisite for a sound capital market to emerge is a sound macroeconomic context. One where the economy is growing in a sustainable and real way, where real investment opportunities exist and are emerging.
Antigua and Barbuda's ambassador to the Organization of American States, Sir Ronald Saunders, has begun his historic third stint as president of the OAS's Permanent Council. Sir Ronald presided over his first meeting on Monday, which partly dealt with the establishment of a voluntary group on the Inter-American Democratic Charter. Garfield Burford reports.
I will be circulating the chairman's work plan in a few days that will have at its center tackling problems that we all have in common and fulfilling aspirations that we all share. I look forward to your collaboration in fulfilling that goal.
Sir Ronald Saunders delivering opening remarks as he assumed the presidency of the OAS's Permanent Council for an unprecedented third term. He also commended his predecessor in the role.
On behalf of the Permanent Council, we extend appreciation to the outgoing chair of the Permanent Council, Ambassador Audrey Marks, Permanent Representative of Jamaica, and our thanks to the Vice Chair, Ambassador Carlos Roberto Quezada, who is with us here this morning.
He chairs the Permanent Council at a time of significant challenge for the hemispheric grouping, none of those challenges bigger than the existential threat from climate change. Another crucial imperative for the OAS is protecting and nurturing democracy at a time when it faces threats throughout the Americas. The discussion on establishing the voluntary group on the Inter-American Democratic Charter arose from Resolution 3004 of the General Assembly.
Operative paragraph 2 of section 6 of that resolution encourages, and I will quote it, the creation of an open participation, voluntary group of member states to foster, with the support of the Secretariat for Strengthening Democracy, dialogue, horizontal cooperation, and the sharing of best practices among its members, and to identify opportunities within the principles of the OAS Charter and the Inter-American Democratic Charter to strengthen their democracies.
In Grenada, the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions is seeking international help to chart the way forward for the enhancement and development of credit unions in the Caribbean. This comes against the backdrop of an announcement of over $2 billion in assets owned by credit unions in OECS.
In its 2022 report, the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions recorded that credit unions across the region have $2.2 billion in assets and memberships of over 400,000. President of the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Union, Holly Hines, spoke of this during his remarks at the opening ceremony of the 16th edition of the OECS Summit of Credit Unions on Wednesday.
OECS region to the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions. You, as at December 2022, you had some $2.2 billion on the assets. That is indeed a great achievement. Give yourself a round of applause. That represents 22.6% of all the assets, total assets of the credit union movement in the Caribbean. But more importantly, your membership was about 465,000 members, which represents really a large proportion of persons in the Caribbean. And I say that to the Caribbean governments. The reality is that our credit union system represents the majority of our members in the credit union movement across Barbados and across the region.
The president said that over the years, credit unions continued to thrive well in the Caribbean. He said despite the ever-changing financial framework in the region, credit unions have stood the test of time, tackling the challenges they face. Hines said the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions' next step is to create a network that allows credit union members to access their account anywhere in the region with the help of international partners.
One of the lessons coming out of COVID-19 is that we must be more nimble. We must be able to provide access to our members' accounts. We must be able to have members accessing their money, whether they're in Grenada, whether they're in St. Lucia, whether they're in Dominica, whether they're in Anguilla, whether they're in St. Lucia, whether they're in Montserrat.
In news further overseas, in the United States, employees from Kaiser Permanente, a health insurance and hospital system that serves over 13 million people, have gone on strike. It is the latest in a string of major labor strikes to hit the country. Al Jazeera's John Hendren reports.
The largest strike by healthcare workers in history is the latest in a year of labor uprisings. More than 75,000 Kaiser Permanente employees began a 3-day strike on Wednesday after overnight contract talks failed.
We're working full-time, and then we're working overtime, and then we're working double time.
Most of the striking employees are in Kaiser's home state of California, where union workers unloaded T-shirts and picket signs. Workers in Virginia, the District of Columbia, Colorado, Oregon, and Washington State are also manning the picket lines. The strikers include support staff, such as X-ray and lab technicians, sanitation and pharmacy workers, not doctors or nurses, who say they are underpaid and understaffed.
In order for us to be the premier employee, we have to have a premier pay employer as well.
The company is offering raises of 12.5% to 16% over 4 years and says it's hired 22,000 workers so far this year and has nearly met an agreed goal to hire 10,000 union workers this month. Some workers say that's not enough.
I worked for this company for 26 years, and we're in the worst state of staffing that I've ever seen.
In a statement, Kaiser said the two sides are still at the bargaining table after working through the night to reach an agreement. But Kaiser warns that for the duration of the strike, non-urgent procedures will be postponed. Hours could be reduced, and phone wait times could be lengthy. The Kaiser workers join a spate of ongoing strikes by the Screen Actors Guild, the United Auto Workers, and other unions. The striking Kaiser workers are expected to be back on the job next week. John Hendren, Al Jazeera.
In sports, co-coach of Jamaica's senior netball team for the 2023 Netball Fast 5 World Series, Nicole Aiken-Pinnock, is positive that the Sunshine Girls will have a successful championship next month. The Fast 5 Netball Series is to be staged from November 11 to November 12 at Wolfbrook Arena in Christchurch, New Zealand. The world's 6th most experienced Fast 5 women's teams, New Zealand, Australia, England, Jamaica, South Africa, and Malawi, are to compete at the event. The Sunshine Girls finished 5th at the Fast 5 World Series last year. The 2030 World Cup will be held across 6 countries in 3 continents, FIFA has confirmed. Spain, Portugal, and Morocco have been named as the co-hosts, with the opening 3 matches taking place in Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay. More from Al Jazeera.
The head of South America's Football Confederation says he's happy that the World Cup will be played again where it all began. CONMEBOL President Alejandro Dominguez welcomed FIFA's announcement on Wednesday that the 2030 tournament will be hosted by Morocco, Portugal and Spain, but with opening games in Argentina, Paraguay and Uruguay. All 6 nations will get automatic entry to the 48-team tournament, which is being held on 3 continents for the first time. And it's the South American leg that's set to kick off the 100-year celebration of the World Cup, with the opening match being played in the Uruguayan capital of Montevideo, where the first World Cup final was held back in 1930. Just minutes after FIFA made that announcement, Saudi Arabia launched its bid for the 2034 World Cup. The country will host the FIFA Club World Cup at the end of the year and the 2027 Men's Asian Cup. FIFA had already said that edition in 2034 will be held in Asia or Oceania. Australia have said they are also exploring the possibility of a bid.
Well, hosting a World Cup in Saudi Arabia would mean everything to us. We are a football nation, and this is what dreams are made of for all the generations, young and old, boys and girls. The 2034 World Cup is our invitation to the world to witness Saudi Arabia's development, experience its welcoming society, culture and heritage, and become part of its history.
That's the news on PBCJ. Thanks for watching.